Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. Short warning before we begin, in the update to our main story there is mention of abuse. Now let's get started. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole Would I Be the A-hole Public, and it's by user Throwaway Friends Cake. Am I the a-hole for freaking out on my boyfriend after he and his friends ate the cake I made for my friend's birthday? I, 19 female, have been with my boyfriend, 22 male, and let's call him Jonah, for 5 years, and we have a 4-year-old, Anna. He's a good dad, don't get me wrong, he loves our kid, plays with her, and helps out when it's his turn for the most part. But sometimes it feels like he just does what he wants, and I'm the only one who actually has to be the responsible adult in this situation. Like, I don't care that he still hangs out with his friends. I do too when I have the time and want him to have fun or whatever. But when they come over, they get way too rowdy. They'll be drinking, blasting music, smoking, weed, not cigarettes, but still, I don't want that around my kid, and just being loud. I've told him a million times that's not the kind of energy I want our daughter around, and he just acts like I'm being uptight. So when I know he's having a chill night with them, I usually just take Anna to my parents' house so she doesn't have to deal with it. This time, I was actually excited to get out of the house for another reason: my best friend's birthday. She's been talking about this specific cake for months. A chocolate cheesecake stuffed sheet cake, which, by the way, took me forever to get right. So we agreed I'd make it for her birthday. I was so happy with how it turned out. Baking's one of the few little things I got in between taking care of Anna and online school, so I get really happy and proud about it when I get to do it, whether it's just for fun or for someone else. Anyway, I spent hours making this cake. It was perfect. Before I left for my parents' house, I made it very, very clear to my boyfriend, do not touch this cake, it's for my friend. He kinda laughed and went, yeah, okay babe, like I was being weird for saying it. I come back the next morning, go to grab the cake, and half of it is gone, like a whole side of it just destroyed. I did have the thought maybe he would have cut himself a little piece, which would have still pissed me off, but whatever. But no. His friends got into it too. I asked him what the hell happened, and Jonah just shrugged and told me that they had the munchies, like that was some kind of valid excuse. I was so mad, I told him I spent hours on it, that it was literally my best friend's birthday cake, and that I had specifically told him not to touch it. He had the audacity to go, babe, it's just some cake, why are you acting like this? Like, I don't know, maybe because I put so much effort into it and now I have nothing to bring to my friend's party? He kept going on about how I was blowing crap out of proportion and how I could just make another one, as if I even have the time to do that and for it to be ready for the party. We kept arguing about it until he rolled his eyes and told me if I was gonna act like that over cake, then I could stay with my parents. So yeah, he kicked me out. I barely had time to grab my things and our daughter because he was practically shooing me out the door and leave. Now I'm back at my parents' house, feeling so stupid for even being surprised. And of course, now Jonah's texting me acting all confused like he never did anything. He's saying, I just needed space to cool down, and I didn't mean for you to actually leave. I felt pretty justified until my mom told me basically that I need to let things like this go and not overreact so much over mistakes. My mom is usually right when she tells me things like this, so yeah. OP, you're not overreacting, you're finally reacting to being disrespected. This wasn't about just some cake, it was about your boyfriend ignoring clear boundaries, trashing something you put time and effort into, brushing off your feelings and then kicking you and your daughter out over it. He parties while you parent and bring this chaos into your home, and when you push back, he gaslights you and acts like you're the problem. You asked for one simple thing. He didn't care. Then he made you leave and now wants to pretend it wasn't serious? I don't think you're being dramatic. I think you're done being disrespected. Stay with your parents, breathe, and really think about whether this is the kind of partner you want in your life. So I think the next decision you need to make is whether it's co-parenting or single parenting. You and your daughter deserve better. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's check out the community comments. Odd Exit 1894 says, not the a-hole, and you need to think about your future and your daughter's future as well. If you stay with him, then your daughter will grow up thinking that these things are normal, but it is not. Either start saving up money to go somewhere else or give that little boy a choice. Imaginary Escape 2887 says, 1. Your mother's advice is essentially for you to shrink yourself so you can bend to your boyfriend's will so he can continue to do whatever the hell he wants and you can continue to stay with the man-child so she won't have to tell people that her daughter is a single mother. 2. You have a daughter. Would you ever want your child to experience and endure the things you go through with her father? You only shared a few things with us, but those few things are extremely large red flags. And 3, he ate the cake you made for your friend and then he kicked you and your child out when he didn't want to argue with you anymore about his wrongdoing. Unless you are completely destitute and have absolutely no other options, why would you ever choose to go back to him? And why would you bring your child back into a house you got kicked out of? Fizzing Wisby says, not the a-hole, and as a mom myself, yours is dead wrong. You're not overreacting. This isn't about cake. This is about your boyfriend's complete and total lack of respect or regard for your time and effort spent on something you and your friend cared about. If he can't respect you when it comes to not eating a cake that's meant for someone else, believe me, he won't respect you when it comes to more important things either. And Too Bad 9999 says, not the a-hole. When he wants a chill night with his boys, they should go to another house, not you and your child. I think this cake issue is just making you see the light. Opie's Edit. I've left my mom's house and I'm staying at a friend's place with my daughter. I'm going to meet with a lawyer this Thursday for a free consultation. Thank you all so much for your help and making me see sense right now. Okay, well, the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole and that this guy is definitely not good news. Also, that OP's mom's advice is stupid and OP is doing something about it. So let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. Hi again, it's been about 3 weeks since my original post, 21 days to be exact. Yeah, I've been counting. So yeah, a lot has happened since I posted. I didn't expect this many people to even read it, let alone support me the way y'all did. First off, thank you, seriously. It made me realize I wasn't as crazy or overdramatic as some people kept trying to make me feel. Me and Anna are staying with my friend. She's been amazing, helping with Anna, giving me a place to crash, and making a part of her living room into a little area for my online school. I've been applying to part-time jobs, cafes, bakeries, whatever I can get. And one place actually seemed really interested, so fingers crossed. Sadly, the crap did get messier though. A week ago, I found out Jonah's been cheating on me. One of his friends, who honestly always seemed more decent than the rest, DM'd me out of nowhere and basically said I deserved to know because Jonah was bragging about messing around with some girl he met at a party weeks ago. I didn't even have to ask for proof. He sent screenshots of their texts and a photo of them together. I was still trying to process that when Jonah showed up at my friend's place. I didn't tell him to come. I hadn't answered any of his texts, and I definitely didn't say he could just roll up. I was outside with Anna on the porch, letting her ride her scooter for a bit while I kept an eye on her. He pulled up, got out of the car, already yelling, accusing me of trying to take his daughter away from him and trying to ruin his life. I told him to leave and kept my voice calm because Anna was right there, but he kept pushing it, getting louder and more aggressive. I told him I knew about the cheating because his friend told me when he tried to go off about me not being loyal. That's when he lost it completely. He got in my face, called me a bunch of names I'm not repeating here, and then slapped me hard. I felt back but managed to catch myself with my arms before I hit the steps. I didn't hit my head, but I landed weird and immediately felt the worst pain in my wrist. Then, while I was still on the ground, he spat on me right in front of our daughter. Anna started crying and ran toward me. I grabbed her with my good arm and rushed inside. My friend was already calling the cops when I told her what happened. Jonah took off before they got there. I went to urgent care that night. My right wrist is fractured and in a brace right now. The doctor said it should heal okay, but it still hurts like hell and makes everything harder. School, job applications, parenting. I'm working with a lawyer I mentioned before and filing for a protective order. I am pressing charges. I never thought I'd be in this kind of situation, but I'm not letting it slide. Not when he did that in front of our kid. Anna hasn't been asking for him much, which honestly surprised me. She's been sticking close to me and my friend. She asks questions sometimes, but not about seeing him. More like, we're safe here, right? And yeah, it hurts my heart, but makes me feel like I'm doing something right. My mom still keeps saying stuff like, he's still her father, and warning me to not make things worse despite me telling her what happened, but I'm done listening to that. I tried to keep the peace. I stayed quiet for so long, but not anymore. My dad's been trying to stay neutral between us, but he's been checking in on me a lot and helping with rides and stuff. I can tell he's more on my side, even if he's trying not to make it a thing between him and my mom. Thanks again to everyone who helped me feel sane through this. I really needed that. Well, OP, first of all, I'm sorry you had to go through that, but good on you for talking to a lawyer and pressing charges, and do not let down on that. Also, it's a good thing you stopped listening to your mom. She's clearly a moron. You just keep yourself and your daughter safe. So on that note, OP, here's wishing you both the best in the future. Take care and thanks for sharing. And now let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole, and it's by user Yossi234. Am I the a-hole for asking my stepmom to give me back my birth certificate? After a couple of weeks of staying with some of my family, my stepmom and siblings, I asked my stepmom to give me my birth certificate. I wanted to keep my documents with me back home in case of emergency. As she opened the folder where she keeps my papers, I noticed there was about 4 copies of it, my high school diploma, some vaccine records, and other personal papers. She was handling the folder and going through them, and if I asked for one, she would think a little and then hand it to me, or ask, "Oh, you need this?" and then hand it. I managed to get a little courage. She has always intimidated me. The years I lived with her and my dad and siblings, I always felt and was made to feel like the odd one out. During the good times, they did welcome me somewhat. On bad times, I'd feel unwanted and like a visiting unwanted nuisance. So after I get this courage, I asked her calmly to give me everything, all my papers. She wanted to keep 1 copy. I said I'd take them all. I also noticed by then she was keeping 2 copies of my naturalization paper, citizenship paper, to the side and out of the folder. It felt like she wanted to keep those too. I took them as well. She got really emotional and, in our language, she said the equivalent of "I'm being stingy" or "I'm skimping on her." I stayed calm and explained I just want to keep my papers and that I and my husband agreed to bring back home our documents and put them together. She raised her voice, sounded very upset and like she was about to cry. My hands were shaking because she low-key scares me, but I stayed calm and I said I hear her, but I'm still taking them. She's more upset, so my sister, her kid, intervened. My stepmom said I must think she wants to do something bad with it. I said no. My sister explained that it's mine and asked why she needs my birth certificate, and she said she could need it for 1. In case she divorces my dad for whatever paperwork there might be, and 2. If my dad dies and the house they live in needs to be split between the kids. As far as I know, I was never part of this equation. I never lived in this house. I'm pretty sure that's their house and my dad doesn't even live here anymore because they had a huge fight. Part of me kept pushing, though firmly and calmly, because I don't want anyone to have my documents and because I felt that I should push myself to stand up to her for what I think is mine. In the end, she said something like, "Fine, take it all. I don't want anything. But if we need something for paperwork, we won't have it." Anyway, she's very upset. I'm scared and she's my ride to the airport tomorrow. Lol, am I the a-hole? No, OP, I don't think you're the a-hole. And I'm not saying she's done anything bad, but I'd definitely run a credit check just in case if anything's out there. Also, you asked for your legal documents, birth certificate, diploma, citizenship papers, and you had every right to take them. Your stepmom getting emotional doesn't change that. Her reasons for keeping them don't hold up. Divorce paperwork and your dad's state aren't your responsibility, and none of that justifies holding on to your ID. You stayed calm, respectful, and firm. That's not stingy, it's setting a boundary. She reacted emotionally because she's used to control and not being challenged. So just let her be upset. That is her problem, and you did the right thing. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section, and now let's check out the community comments. Ranra13742 says, not the a-hole. I don't see why she'd need your birth certificate for a divorce involving the house regardless. And OP responds, I agree, and when she said that, I did get a little suspicious because it sounded like she was making things up. Drop Dead First Please says, not the a-hole. This is her way of having some form of control or power over you. It isn't about helping you or wanting to have it for a will. It is to hold it over your head in case you would need a copy. You see, I told you that I should have kept a copy. If not for me, where would you be? Either way, keep her in check on everything. You never know what else she has hidden around the house. And OP responds, this is a perspective I haven't thought about. Not necessarily malicious, but keeping control in an emotional way. Thanks for your input. Kim Deal 0 says, not the a-hole. I'm 42 and I recently finally worked up the guts to ask my own parents for all of my childhood documents. There's a lot for many reasons, but I wanted them all as they are mine and I'm an adult now. I still feel like I didn't get everything based on what's in the papers, but I'll have to wait to work up the guts to ask if stuff might be missing. And my parents aren't really even scary to me, so just know that it can be hard even when the relationship isn't contentious, but you are always in the right to ask for your own important documents. And Dopey responds, thanks, this makes me feel so much better. I'm in my mid-30s, and though we were always cordial, I could feel she would rather I don't live with her family when I was a teen. 1.5 years ago, my dad exploded and physically hurt my brother, her other kid. I stood up to my dad and defended my brother, and ever since then, she's been nicer to me. And Mountain Blood 7374 says, not the a-hole. I can't think of a single good reason why she would need to keep a copy. In any situation where she may for some reason need it, she would be able to contact you and discuss getting a copy then. I don't see why she would need it in a divorce. You're not her biological child, and if anything, she should not have access to it in case of a divorce. If your dad were to pass away and his estate had any issues, then it would be the lawyer who needs the birth certificate, if it's even needed at all. In any of those situations, you should be notified that your birth certificate is needed, assuming for the sake of argument it is, and so holding it would more likely lead to you not properly being notified. Not to mention, then you'd be relying on her to keep it safe. The whole thing is weird. My mom wanted to hold on to my social security card after I changed my last name and my original birth certificate for sentimental reasons. I said no. I trust my mom, but it's still weird to request. Well, the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole, but also everybody agrees that the reasons why the stepmom wanted to keep the birth certificate and other documents seemed really sketchy at best. Anyways, let's now move on to the update to see how this story ends. After a few sleepless hours, I took a ride to the airport. I didn't want her to feel even more insulted. During the ride, she apologized for having gotten too excited, but said I hurt her feelings because it shows I don't trust her. As someone suggested, I told her it's not personal. I would have asked the papers out of anyone. I told her I wouldn't stay over at the house of someone I don't trust. I thanked her for taking care of my documents thus far. She said that she understands since she's not my mom, she can't make me do things, but that if I was her kid, she would. She said she loves me almost like a daughter. This is news to me. We talk like once a month and mostly initiated by me. I believe at best she just felt moved at that instant, and that she was just trying to take care of the family. She tried to make me feel guilty by saying, I understand you don't get it because you didn't grow up with a united family like my kids. Or it's clear that you don't trust me because if you did, you wouldn't take your papers. I admit she succeeded in making me feel bad, but I am also aware that this is emotional manipulation, conscious or unconscious, and I stood by my decision. All in all, I feel proud of myself for standing up for myself, especially with someone who is very good at making you feel guilty and uses words to make herself seem the right one in the situation. I feel like I could give myself my own new scout badge. Will it be good for you for standing your ground and for recognizing what your stepmother was trying to do? Hopefully, she didn't keep any copies of your documents. So on that note, here's wishing you the best, OP. Thanks for sharing and take care. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.